Let's talk about Donald Trump and his tax returns. This is a story that's not going away anytime soon.
Hey, ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey!
On April 15th, tax day, tens of thousands took to the streets in New York, Washington, Los Angeles, and several other major cities to demand that Donald Trump release his tax returns. Why is that so important to the protesters? Well, to put it quite simply, they don't like Donald Trump. They don't believe he should be president, and they're hoping to find something in his taxes to impeach him. Now, if you don't believe my summation of their intention, just listen to the reaction that Congresswoman Maxine Waters got from the crowd in Washington, D.C. when she exposed their real intentions for the 45th president.
And I will fight every day until he is impeached. Impeach 45. Impeach 45.
So if the whole goal of the push is to embarrass Donald Trump and to try to impeach him, why would he ever release his taxes? Especially when he's not legally required to do so. No elected official or candidate to be an elected official is legally required to do so. And Donald Trump was elected without releasing his tax returns. So he is of the opinion that his supporters just don't care. That argument is countered with a CNN public opinion poll that shows that 73% of Americans want him to release his taxes. But you see, that's where public opinion polls fall short. For instance, if you were to ask me, should Donald Trump release his taxes, I'd say, yeah, sure. But if you were to ask me if I'd be upset if he didn't, or if that's an important issue to me, I'd say no. Much like if you were to ask me, do I support the opera? I'd say yes, even though I've never been to the opera. But then if you'd ask me, would I be upset if opera went away? I'd say no. And the reason would be the same. It doesn't affect my life. Here's what I want from Donald Trump, or any president for that matter: to create jobs, to keep the economy strong, and to keep the country safe. If he does that, I can live with just about anything else. Now, you'll hear the argument that every president since Richard Nixon released his taxes, and while it is true that Richard Nixon was the first president to release his taxes, he only did so after he was reelected and he was in the middle of the Watergate scandal. The very next president, Gerald Ford, didn't release his taxes. And several candidates since then have not released their taxes, including Jerry Brown, Rudy Giuliani, Mike Huckabee, Steve Forbes, and Ralph Nader, who ran for president several times, never released his tax returns, but is insisting that Donald Trump release them now. Hypocrisy runs deep in politics. You see, here's the problem. Donald Trump is a billionaire businessman. He has been all of his life. He hires accountants to pay the least amount of taxes possible. Politicians' jobs are to get reelected, and so they hire campaign accountants with that in mind. So is there something in Donald Trump's tax returns that's potentially embarrassing? Probably. And for that reason, the pressure on him to release those returns is not going away. But if the gross domestic product rises, let's say at 4%, and unemployment stays the same or goes down, and the country's safe, most Americans aren't going to care and the issue will go away. But if those things don't happen, watch out.
Impeach 45.
I'm Larry Mendte. See you again next week.